Welcome back to the channel. The one-penny coin is one of the most familiar and long-standing pieces of British currency. For generations, it has been part of everyday life in the United Kingdom, used in countless transactions, games, and traditions. The 1992 one-penny coin stands out in particular, as it marks an important moment in the history of the penny's composition and the story of modern British coinage. The decimal one penny was first introduced in 1971, when the United Kingdom officially decimalized its currency, replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence system. From that year onward, the penny was redefined as 1/100th of a pound sterling. By the time 1992 arrived, the coin had already been in circulation for over 2 decades and was widely recognized as part of the decimal system. The design of the one-penny coin in 1992 retained the now classic reverse image created by Christopher Ironside. This design features a crowned portcullis with chains, an emblem that has strong associations with the Palace of Westminster and British Parliament. The portcullis design itself dates back to heraldic traditions but is also an important reminder of Britain's institutions and history. On the obverse, the coin carried the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. In 1992, the effigy in use was the third definitive portrait of the Queen, created by sculptor Raphael Maklauf. This portrait, introduced in 1985, depicted the Queen wearing the royal diadem and emphasized a more regal, formal image of the monarch. It appeared on all denominations during this period, including the penny. But 1992 was more than just another year of production. It was a turning point. Up until September of that year, one-penny coins were struck in bronze, an alloy of copper, tin, and zinc. Starting in late 1992, however, the Royal Mint changed the composition to copper-plated steel. This was a cost-saving measure, as the price of copper was rising, and producing bronze coins had become increasingly expensive. This change meant that 1992 pennies exist in 2 different metal types, the traditional bronze issue and the newer copper-plated steel issue. While visually they look very similar, the difference is obvious when a magnet is applied. Steel coins are magnetic, while bronze coins are not. This makes the 1992 penny particularly significant for collectors, as it represents the transitional year of composition. The size and weight of the coin did not change with the metal transition. The 1992 penny measured 20.3 millimeters in diameter, weighed 3.56 grams, and had a plain edge. Its reddish-brown color was familiar to all Britons, though steel coins could appear slightly brighter when newly minted compared to the darker hue of bronze. For the everyday person in 1992, the penny was still very much in use. Small coins like these were essential for bus fares, shop transactions, and payphones. Many people also remember them being used in amusement arcades, penny pushers, and small charity collections. The coin's low value made it easy to overlook, but it was indispensable in daily commerce. Interestingly, the switch to copper-plated steel also helped the Royal Mint save money in production, but over time it created differences in durability. Bronze coins aged differently from steel coins, often retaining their patina, while the steel versions sometimes corroded when the copper plating wore thin. This made the 1992 pennies a fascinating case study in coin metallurgy. From a collector's perspective, the 1992 penny holds special interest precisely because of this dual composition. While neither version is rare in circulation, having both the bronze and steel examples allows a collector to demonstrate the turning point in modern British coinage. Sets featuring both versions are often highlighted in numismatic collections. Another point of significance is how the 1992 penny fits into the broader history of the one-penny coin. The penny has existed in Britain for over 1,200 years in some form, from the silver pennies of Anglo-Saxon kings to the bronze issues of Queen Victoria. The 1992 coin is part of that continuum, showing how the denomination has evolved to meet modern needs. The design of the portcullis remained unchanged in 1992 and continued to symbolize Parliament. This reflects a theme in British coinage, the balance between continuity and change. While the metal composition shifted, the imagery remained steady, grounding the coin in tradition even as practical adjustments were made. By 1992, Britain had not yet introduced the redesigned coinage that would later arrive in 2008. That meant the penny still belonged to the classic decimal designs, which many people grew up with. For collectors today, this makes the coin nostalgic, tied to memories of the late 20th century and the familiar look of British change. The penny's role in British culture also cannot be overlooked. Sayings like, "a penny for your thoughts," or traditions such as tossing pennies into fountains for luck gave the coin symbolic value beyond its small purchasing power. Even in 1992, when inflation had diminished its real-world worth, the penny still held cultural significance. Looking closely at a 1992 penny today, you might notice how the copper tone has aged. Some coins have developed darker surfaces, while others remain shiny. Bronze versions tend to wear differently from steel ones, and sharp-eyed collectors can often tell them apart without even using a magnet. Each coin carries its own story, depending on how it circulated. In terms of mintages, millions of pennies were struck in 1992, making it a very common year. However, the fact that it marked the start of copper-plated steel gives it numismatic interest far beyond rarity. It is a coin that tells a story, a small object that reflects broader economic decisions made at the Royal Mint. As the years passed, the penny continued to circulate, but debates about its usefulness grew louder. Many argued that the coin's low value made it increasingly irrelevant, while others felt it remained an important part of pricing and tradition. The 1992 coin, therefore, sits at an interesting moment, when the penny was still unquestionably necessary, yet heading toward a more uncertain future. For anyone building a collection of modern British coins, the 1992 penny is a must-have. Not because it is rare or valuable in monetary terms, but because it represents change, the transition from bronze to steel, the continuation of the Queen's portrait, and the preservation of a design that connected the present with the past. So the next time you come across a 1992 one-penny coin, don't dismiss it as just small change. Look closer. Ask yourself if it's bronze or steel, consider the design, and think about the year it was made. It may only be worth 1 penny in face value, but in history and meaning, it is worth much more.